Hey everyone, and welcome back. So today we're going to be reviewing Blanc for the Nintendo Switch, and yes, theoretically, the sea is silent. Now this game is a cooperative puzzle platformer that is releasing on February 14th of 2023. It's going to be selling on the US eShop for $14.99. The game is being published by Gearbox Publishing, and it has a download size of 646 megabytes. Now, is this game another cooperative experience that's going to knock our socks off? Well, that's what we're going to be looking at in today's review. And just remember, if you are liking the video, one of the best ways to support the channel, hit that like button. Blanc is the story of a wolf cub and a fawn who get separated from their families during a huge snowstorm and wind up finding each other first. Now, this unlikely pair quickly realize that the quickest way back to their families is through cooperation. The whole narrative is delivered without any written or spoken words, rather through the sounds and reactions of the animal protagonists. Now the game nails this aspect perfectly, having you connect with your heroes and celebrate along with them in all their victories, big and small. This game is all about an experience more than gameplay, and having you connect with the characters and also care about this unlikely friendship. Although short at only about 3 hours, the game pulls this together masterfully, and the overall narrative is definitely this game's biggest asset, and just might manage to get a gasp or maybe even a tear out of you. Now if we move into the gameplay and controls. This game is definitely meant to be played cooperatively, with each player controlling either the wolf or the fawn. However, for the footage of this review, I managed to play through the game solo using a Pro controller with one thumbstick each controlling a protagonist, so it is possible. I also replayed through the first 4 chapters with my daughter, and it definitely made for the better experience, and she was loving it as well. The gameplay ultimately boils down to that of a 3D puzzle platformer, however light on the puzzles, with long sections of the game feeling almost like a walking simulator to showcase the beautiful landscapes, but also drive home the harshness of our hero's situation. The game is split into 10 chapters, with 1 or 2 major puzzles to solve in each one. Although ultimately simple, they do require the synergy between the 2 players to grow as the game progresses, such as having the fawn help the wolf up to higher ledges, or working together to move larger objects. When stuck, you often find yourself looking for spots to use your abilities, which are predefined, and then just try to piece it all together. The controls work well for the most part, but sometimes when wanting to jump to a specific spot, you will find yourself battling to get that predefined spot to pop. Overall, the challenge and gameplay here is definitely more on the casual side, and primarily meant as a vehicle for the narrative. It's good to note that you'll also have to assist some other animal friends along the way, and these actually led to some of my favorite puzzles of the game. Now if I had to mention one major gripe that I had with the gameplay and controls, is the camera that can spaz out at certain moments, even getting lost in a building or texture if you're not exactly going the way the game expects you to. Although this situation wasn't very frequent, when it did happen, it sort of ruined the magic of the experience and made me feel like too much exploration was sometimes a bad thing. Overall, I did enjoy the gameplay experience delivered in the game. However, just as the synergy was really starting to ramp up and the puzzles feeling slightly more challenging, the game ends. And with no secrets to discover or post-game content, this will most probably be a one and done game for most players. Lastly, if we talk about the graphics and sound. So I'm gonna come right out and say it, visually I found this game looked stunning, with a great use of only a black and white palette that really sold you on the idea of being lost in a snowstorm. It also really made me feel like it was these 2 little animals alone against the wilderness for most of the game. Now I do want to mention that the first time I loaded up the game, it felt jittery, but after a few minutes, either my eyes got used to it or it just completely disappeared, but that was no longer an issue. I'm not sure what that was, but just something to note. Now performance-wise, there were also a few occasional moments where the game got choppy, but they were few and not of particular note, and a day 1 patch is already planned to iron them out. Now on the sound side, the soundtrack here is definitely one of ambiance, with a few moments of it picking up, but mostly it's serving to create a mood. And it does that well. What really steals the show, however, are the sound effects. The whines, whimpers, barks, and bleats really sell moments of distress and joy from your characters. Overall, visuals and sound are a definite success here, something necessary for an experience-based game. Now we come to the conclusion, and if this is the first time watching one of my reviews, my full review scale is available down below in the description of the video. Now actually giving a score for this game was actually quite difficult. However, overall I landed on a 7.5, putting this at the high end of a good game. Now the way I see it, this actual score can vary a bit depending on the type of player you are. If you're the type of person who wants to connect with an emotional story, you could even add an extra point to the score. However, if you're the type of player that definitely needs a strong gameplay experience over a narrative, well then you might even want to deduct a point. Now on my end, I landed on a 7.5 because I'm the type of player who can enjoy both types of experiences. However, at the same time, paying $15 for a game that I'm just going to play once and be done with in about 3 hours does feel a little bit steep. Yet at the same time, I did enjoy my time with the game and there was that emotional payoff during the narrative. What I can also say, if you're still on the fence at this point, this is definitely one of those games that you could wait for a sale for, because if it falls at under $10, then I would say it is definitely worth the experience, even though it's a one and done game. So now let me know what you think in the comments down below. Are you going to be picking up Blanc on the Nintendo Switch? And don't forget, on the way out, if you did like the video, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you aren't already, and click on that notification bell so you know when all my future videos come out. And as usual, I hope I'll see you in my next video.